What's up, Magic players? It's Doyle, your host here on DoylePrimeMTG, where I bring you the latest and greatest in Magic content that I can, while still trying to have a life. Today, I'd like to take a step away from the hustle and bustle of the product fatigue, and show you how I'd like to build a classic mono-red commander that still makes waves at the EDH table. His name is Krenko Mob Boss. I'd like to show you how I would build him today.
Forests, islands, mountains, plains, and swamps. The multiverse is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. There is a tingling in the spine, a faint sensation, as if a distant memory, of walking from plane to plane. Our lives have been forever changed, as if by magic. Embark with me on this journey to eternity. Experience the true power of mind over matter as we ignite your spark and traverse into the magic multiverse.
Krenko Mob Boss is aptly named. Being the original boss of Mono Red and EDH, he remains one of the most powerful commanders in the category. Often jested that he would be great with just him in the command zone and 99 mountains in the library. He serves us extra well when we also add Goblin synergies. Krenko costs 2 red for a 3/3 legendary Goblin warrior with tap, create X 1/1 Goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins that you control. This spirals exponentially out of control in no time at all. Now let's ramp to this party blazingly fast. Being in mono red, we tend to use a lot of artifact ramp. Soul Ring, Wayfarer's Bauble, Arcane Signet, Star Compass, Prismatic Lens, and Mind Stone will make up our classic rock suite. We also have some burst mana with Brightstone Ritual and Battle Hymn. Each of these give us some absurd casting potential. We can even sacrifice our goblins for mana with Skirk Prospector and Ashnod's Altar, giving us the extra burst of mana to take the lead. We can also include a Nykthos Shrine to Nyx as an additional way to get large amounts of reliable mana. Next up, we will see how our goblins will offer tribute to our draws. First, we have some artifact-based card draw with Skull Clamp, Endless Atlas, and Idol of Oblivion. Since we will be making so many goblins, it doesn't hurt to sacrifice them to draw some cards, especially if we get to draw off them entering anyways with the Idol. And what else says mono red card draw like Endless Atlas? Dark Dweller Oracle is another decent way to get some impulsive draws off of our humble sacrifices. Goblin Ringleader can be the center of attention as it can draw us multiple goblins when it enters the battlefield. We also have 2 brand new sorcery draw spells with Jeska's Will and Wheel of Misfortune. Each of these have the tendency to draw us multiple solid spells. Next up, we look at how the goblins can get a grip of the play space. Of course, once we set up our field, we want to make sure the blue player doesn't have anything to say about it. Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast will do just that. These are essentially countering a counterspell most of the time. We also have a couple of controlling lands, albeit in different ways. Valakut Molten Pinnacle and the upcoming Urza's Saga. Valakut can lightning bolt stuff whenever our mountains enter, which is pretty sweet. Urza's Saga is not yet legal in Commander, but will be with the release of yet another Magic the Gathering set. Not to downplay it because I'm super excited for the D&D set that's coming up, but wow, there has just been so much going on lately, it's really hard for my wallet to keep up. Either way, Urza's Saga is going to be a wonderful addition to this deck. Not only is it a land that can keep us on curve when we play it, but it can find us either of our 2 1CMC mana rocks, or it can also help us find Skull Clamp, which draws us so many cards. Speaking of tutors, Goblin Matron and Goblin Recruiter will each allow us to stack the odds in our favor, bringing our needed goblins to the forefront. Never discount our goblins when it comes to exerting control. Goblin Chirurgeon can sacrifice a token goblin to protect an important one. Goblin Lackey and Warren Instigator can help us cheat cost by putting goblins directly into play from our hand per combat damage trigger. Goblin Sharpshooter can ping off our opponent's small creatures, or even combo with some of our sacrifice engines. We have a few ways to give haste, with Lightning Greaves, Fervor, Anger, and Goblin Chieftain. Goblin Trashmaster clears the board of any unwanted junk artifacts that are across the table. We also have a couple of untappers with Mage Right Stone and Puppet Strings. Each allow us to reuse Krenko over and over again. Now I want to bring this to a close with a few control spells that can also help us win the game. Massive Raid and Last Ditch Effort can damage either a creature, player, or planeswalker. Any of these targets are prime for taking out. Descent of Dragons is such a flavorful red board wipe. Though what could possibly be better than replacing our army of 1,000 goblins with that of 1,000 4/4 red flying dragons? Similar to untapping Krenko, we can also copy his ability with cards like Illusionist Bracers and the new Battle Mage Bracers. Each gives us the opportunity to copy an activated ability of the equipped creature as it is activated. Of course, in tribal strategies, Lords are always welcome. Goblin Bushwhacker and Legion Loyalist are a couple of low-drop goblins that can beef up our team out of nowhere. Bloodmark Mentor and Goblin Piledriver each have the ability to make it doubly difficult for our opponents to block our fierce force. Also, Goblin King and Quest for the Goblin Lord can beef up the power across our board, and the King can make for a rainy day for any other red players on the board. Of course, the biggest buffs in this deck come from Goblin Rabblemaster and Shared Animosity, giving +1/+0 to each attacking goblin equal to the amount of other attacking goblins. This gets even nastier with Coat of Arms. Now each goblin will have the power and toughness equal to the amount of goblins in play. These colossal cardboard constituents make easy work of easy opponents. But this deck wouldn't be the explosive mess that it is if it weren't for the backup plan. If we are locked out of combat, we can always fling away. Taking advantage of creatures entering the battlefield, we have Impact Tremors and Perforos God of the Forge, each dealing tremor damage across the board. As our creatures attack, Cavalcade of Calamity, Raid Bombardment, and Hellrider will each deal non-combat damage to our opponents first to ensure fog effects don't rain on our parade. In addition to the other sacrifice outlets, Goblin Bombardment and Mog Raider will each allow us to sacrifice creatures to add extra damage where we see fit. Next, we have a couple of other Goblin engines with Krenko 10 Street Kingpin and Legion Warboss. Each generates many tokens over the course of a game. We also have some Towering Terrors with Goblin Piledriver, Horde of Boggarts, and Battle Squadron. Each of these has the power of our entire field and has their own form of evasion. We can also cash in on our goblins being taken out with Pashalik Mons and Boggart Shenanigans, bringing Aristocrats into mono red. Finally, when we need just any of our sources to power up just a bit, Torbran is here to help, adding 2 damage to each instance from our red sources. And 2 spells who don't even really need Torbran, with Goblin Warstrike and Mob Justice. Player removal is just the finest kind of removal. After all is said and done, we have room for about 31 mountains. That about wraps it up for this deck tech. I hope you enjoyed the video. You'll find the link to the full deck list on architect.com in the description, complete with a maybe board. Let me know in the comments below if you would take this deck in a different direction, or if there are any key includes that I missed. Cheers, and happy casting. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like button, and also share it with your friends. If you want to see more videos like these, or hear me ramble about how to navigate this magic multiverse, go ahead and click that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest from me, Doyle Prime, and the happenings throughout Magic the Gathering. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you all next video.